Vineet is here.
Maybe.
Hi, Vineet.
Hi all.
Hi.
There.
So I was in fact waiting for this session. I was about to prepare my SOP, and it's been a long time wherein I have left my have done my engineering and then have been working for a long time. So I was thinking to go do a background study about the professors if I am selected for the program with whom I would be working. So I wanted to know what all kind of specific works that the professors are doing, and my background being in telecommunication engineering, wherein most of the time I have been working on camera products, sometimes in GoPros and sometimes in Qualcomm. So are there any specific area where the professors are doing their research, wherein they want interested engineers or the students to join?
So the program is pretty fixed. So, we have basically a series of classes that you have to take, and you will learn, DSP and wireless communication things, and some hardware design and software design, things like that. You will definitely get to meet a lot of professors that will be teaching these classes, but it's not necessarily meant to be like kind of a research, PhD type of thing, right? So it's much more of a kind of fixed schedule in some sense. So we've optimized all the classes to make sure they fit together really well, and to hopefully give you the best experience. But it's a lot different than a normal master's program where you're given a lot of choices in terms of classes and things like that. So I'm not sure I totally understand what you're asking, but you have some of the professors here, myself and Professor Harris and Professor Eldon. So we have various expertises, and we'll certainly kind of teach you those things in the classes, and then expose you to some extent some of the research aspects of all of these different topics.
Okay.
And of course, the capstone project, you finish up rather than doing a thesis or rather than taking a comprehensive exam, you do a final project, and that's a splendid opportunity. You can work in a team. If you have a particular area of interest, all we insist on, it's got to be wireless, it's got to be embedded, it's got to be a system. But we've had people do all kinds of interesting applications or specific types of modulation. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And so if you have a pet project, pet interest area, that's something to consider. That's the biggest opportunity for customizing in this whole program, is for your final project.
Yeah, that's a good point, John. So basically the last 2 quarters of the program in the second year, you start your capstone, and John teaches the kind of the first class of that capstone, and you start developing your idea. And usually it's related to the top. I mean, it's always related in some sense to the topics that you've learned, but you have some freedom in terms of what you want to build for that project. And we can, if you're around on Friday, you're welcome to join us on Friday. We have our capstone presentations. Kristen can give you the link and send you that information for that.
Yeah, I think I have registered for it.
Great. Yeah, you should definitely
that's a real good chance.
That. Yeah.
And then talk to those people. You don't want to talk to us. Talk to the students that just got through it, and get the real dope on the program.
And one more thing, this time everything would be in the campus, right? What I heard from the initial meeting, everything is going to be on campus.
That's very likely what's going to happen. Fall looks like everything will be in person again. So unless something drastically changes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
We're all looking forward to that too.
That's right.
And the other thing,
I was going through the calendar. The program starts in the month of September, if I'm not wrong, correct?
Sorry, say it again.
The class starts in the month of September, right?
Yeah, end of September normally. It's the same. The schedule should be there, but it's the same. There's a schedule on the website. We can find that for you information as well. But it's typically end of September, early October is when we start.
Yeah, I was discussing it with my manager, and he verbally approved me joining the course. So he was of a concern that, in fact, he did his master's while working in Qualcomm, and he took he told me that he took 5 years to complete because he had lots of work pressure. So in this program, as it is time constrained for 2 years, right? So would there be a flexibility in the sense if my manager is concerned that in some sense it is taking a toll and he wants me to take a break, or since I have a family and if I am doing a family planning kind of thing, so is there a flexibility for me to continue this program in the third year?
It's certainly possible, but I would say that almost all of our students are like you. Many of them at Qualcomm, and we can probably introduce you to some of them that are or were at Qualcomm and give you an idea of how they managed. Yeah. But also they finish in 2 years. It's not easy, but the program is probably a bit different than your manager's program, where I'm guessing your manager might have taken just sort of a typical master's program, and those classes are during the day, and there's less flexibility on times, and they're not catered towards a working schedule. So we do our best in this program to try to kind of keep things compact, but also manageable for people that are working, because like I said, 95%, or I think probably almost all the people are working full time, and so they are in the same boat as you.
Okay.
But I think John was very right. Like, you should talk to some of you should try to come on Friday if you can, and then you should try to talk to some of those students. And if not, we can also introduce you to some students that, especially the ones at Qualcomm, that can tell you a little bit about their experience and what to expect, and make sure you're ready for it. It's a rigorous program, but it's certainly possible to. And we've had a few cases where people have taken more than 2 years, but I think probably 90% plus. Yeah, I would guess 90% or more have taken just 2 years. So they get
fewer lately. Yeah, that was more common earlier in the program. But I really think talk to other Qualcommies, because we have a lot of them.
Okay.
Specifically, yeah.
It would be great if you could share some employees who are in Qualcomm. I might get in touch with them.
Yeah, we can definitely.
One fellow
do that.
I worked with quite a bit was Aaron Hughes, and Aaron was a wonderful supporter. He took as many classes as he could, came on alternate weekends, even though we didn't have classes, but we had study groups. And he attended every single one of those, barring none. And his wife said, "Hey, you said every other weekend." Well, every other weekends and the ones in between, I forgot to mention that. But he was a very reliable and a good student.
Yeah, there's many others too. I think I'm guessing Kristen is taking notes, and if we have your email, we can send you that.
Yeah, in fact, I'll ping my Qualcomm email to this chat group.
Good.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, because we had a lot of people from Qualcomm, a lot of people from Viasat, a lot of people from NOSC, from Naval. So those are some of the biggies, and then we've had various others scattered around the county. So it's definitely doable for Qualcomm people. So. And the classes are Fridays. The first year classes are all Saturdays, I guess. So.
Yeah, I've gone through the schedule.
Yeah. So we try to do what we can, and then the other thing, what I've been doing with my classes on campus. So I'm doing everything remote. So Zoom office hours open up all kinds of possibilities too, because then it's easier evenings and weekends and other times we can set up Zoom office hours. at least speaking for myself. I know Fred's done that. This latest round of capstones, Fred and I have had Sunday afternoons and stuff with some of the capstone teams. So that's another way we can reach out and kind of help you, because the Zoom works really well for office hours.
Along the same lines, not only do we record the Zoom meetings, we actually record the classroom meetings. So we will be able to reproduce every single hour that we have contact with you. And if you want to go back and review, or if you're going to be late because of some travel or some other work-related obligation, we help you fill in those gaps.
Okay, got it.
And you can even play them back at 1.25x.
On holidays, you can slow them down to 0.5x.
I guess we have a couple other prospective students here too. So
Yeah,
Hey, Bill,
please ask any questions.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening. My name is Abhishek Lal. I apologize for not having my webcam up and running. I have something permanently fixed to block the webcam, so I can't remove it. I apologize for that. Wanted to ask the requirement for the enrollment, like what kind of prior transcripts we need. So my problem is I did my first my undergrad from India, then I did my master's from Chicago in different engineering, electrical engineering, and not really related to wireless. But now that I work in the wireless industry, I wanted to do this wireless master course as well. But I'm not sure if I can get the transcript from India to apply for, and also if I'm eligible to apply for the second master's if I already have a master's degree. I would appreciate if you can share any thought to that.
Yeah, so we look a lot more at what you've done recently as opposed to what you've done X years ago, where X can be 10 or 20 or sometimes more, depending on our candidates.
Yeah.
So letters from your advisors and just kind of what you're working on. So if you're working in a relevant area, then that plays a lot more weight than what you did however many years ago, decades ago. So I don't know if I'd worry too much about the transcripts. I feel like I can't say that officially because there might be some requirements there, but I in terms of evaluation, I know I can say that we don't weight that very highly. And other question, I'm blanking on your other question. Sorry.
That's fine. I mean, I can still apply for this master's if I already have a master's degree.
Oh yes, yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. We've had people that have taken other taken this master's. So this is a MAS, a Master of Advanced Studies. So it's a little bit different. So it's possible it's specialized. So like you said, if you haven't had these sort of classes, it might be valuable, or it would be valuable for you to have this degree.
Also, if one wants to pursue further, into a PhD, is there a way can this leads to a PhD as well? Or
you have a good opportunity to meet with professors like the ones that are here, and also just to to get introductions to them. So it is possible. We've had some people that have done it, but it's rare.
We're hearing one tomorrow.
Yeah, one of my PhD students currently who went through this program initially is graduating, or hopefully graduating, is defending tomorrow.
He's defending.
And he's defending tomorrow. Yes, I think he'll graduate.
Oh no,
yeah, and so it's possible, but it's not common. So there are only a few out of probably
not common because of their choice, or there's restriction, they don't meet the criteria. Those things.
I think the PhD is a different beast, and so it's.
I'm just trying to get the feel. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean I think I can't. Certainly we get this question a lot, I would say, and and I feel like most people, when they go through the program, they maybe don't want to do a PhD anymore. So it is possible, right? But it is a different type of program. So like, for instance, if you go with a regular master's program, there's a, you can do a thesis and you can do a lot more in terms of kind of finding advisors here. If you want to do something in wireless embedded, which I would guess you'd probably want to do, you're going to meet a lot of good professors. And if you can impress those professors, then there is a fairly easy route to get into the PhD program. If someone, wanted you to. So for my student, Ali, who is defending tomorrow, he was an amazing student, and it wasn't hard for him to get into the PhD program because I wanted to work with him. So you will have that opportunity to meet professors and hopefully impress them and understand what they do, and potentially work with them on the side if you are so inclined. But it isn't a common route, so just to kind of be honest in that assessment.
Thank you so much.
Okay, and then Kristen, HH has something in chat about program prereqs. So
sure, I can MC. So HH asks, I'm sorry for leaving my question here. I am having difficulties allowing my microphone for Zoom on web interface. I have completed undergraduate CSE program with EEC emphasis from UC Davis probably in early 2000. What would be the requirement or prerequisite for the WES, I'm guessing, degree?
Yeah, so you sound like a student that we would admit, but a lot of it is what have you done recently and where are you working? So if you're working at Qualcomm or Viasat or in the Navy and IWIC, or all these sort of places that Northrop, these sort of places that we commonly take people from, then I'm guessing you would be quite competitive. But it's a lot of it is about your letters and kind of what are you doing recently, and also mostly it's just, do we think you can be successful? Do you think you can? Do we think that you can complete the program? And we've had all kinds of people from all different walks of life complete this program. Yeah. So we tend to be open and give people a chance, and be honest with them too, and say, we're going to admit you, but you really need to study up on DSP or else we think we're going to have trouble, or we're going to admit you, or you really need to understand a bit more on software. You're going to have a hard time in your CSE classes because of your background. So you're going to have to work a lot on that. But we are generally speaking very open to allowing people to come in. And like John said, we've had some major surprises in terms of people who we didn't think would be able to get through the program and who were superstars. So we're always looking, I guess, for those surprises.
One of the things that students are often concerned about is they may feel their education is stale. They took courses many years ago. And then the question is, do I have to take any courses to catch up? And the answer is no. You play catch up while you're taking the course. We'll teach you the core material you need to know. And if you stop and pause to play catch up in another course, you're slowing yourself down. The best way to learn is jump in the water and swim. And it works very, very well. And because it's focused on where you need to get the material and the understanding of the material, it's more efficient to work within the program than to spend all the time preparing to work within the program. We're very good at focusing on what your needs are. If you have a weakness, we'll help you fix it. We'll go around it, we'll go through it. And the core understanding is not the pure mathematics. You can do a math class and not know how to design out of a paper bag. What we want you to do is get some skills which immediately allows you to start solving problems. So we want to tie the two together. Here's a skill, here's a problem, work with them. And that's the way you learn that material. Many, many years ago, when we took a DSP class, DSP was taught by faculty who were trying to impress other faculty. And that's not the reason we teach our classes. We don't want to impress anyone. We want to educate you. And we're pretty good at what we do. And we're focused on that. And you'll see the advantage as soon as you start interacting with the faculty. That's
I have a question. Your answer to this question brings me to this point. Do you want your students to familiar with engineering mathematics? Should they go through it before the classes begin? Or any specific some sort of basic revision so that the student doesn't have any trouble understanding concepts prior to the classes getting started?
We expect you to have these courses under your belt somewhere. We want you to have a course in DSP. We want you to have a course in random processes or random variables. But we don't want you to go back and study a course in random variables or DSP because it's not as efficient as learning under the umbrella of our sequence of courses.
Okay.
But if you've been exposed, you know more than you think you know. And what we are going to do is repackage it in ways that you'll say, oh, I wish I understood that 5 years ago when I took the course.
You'll really wish you'd learned it from Fred originally, is what he's saying.
Yeah, so we do our best to try to give you the background material, for those going to the class and say, okay, if you haven't had this class before, if it's been a long time, here's some things you can help review, and here's some review sessions that you can have. And I think in an ideal world, you have experience in all the topics. In a realistic world, you have experience in, maybe half to 3/4 of the topics. And then you have to, in some classes, they may be kind of review for you, and you may have a lot of experience in them. In other classes, they may be quite new. And so you're going to have to work a little bit harder in some of those classes. But we have a decade of experience of kind of tailoring the program to people that, have taken these classes a long time ago or don't necessarily, have taken all of these classes. So we do our best to make it easy. We have amazing instructors to make it easy on you. And we also do it in a very applied fashion where you're building things, you're using this theory in practice, so you understand why it's useful, and not just do this for the sake of doing things, for the sake of math, or for the sake of learning. It's a really applied program in that regard.
And you have one other superb resource, which is your fellow students. There is so much cross-learning that goes, because we have software background people, we have hardware background people, we have system integration people, we have comms theory people. And typically what we do, particularly when we're on campus, we'll meet ahead of time before class. They do catered breakfasts and lunches and stuff. And a lot of the learning takes place in these informal get-togethers with your fellow students. And then Fred was mentioning the off Saturdays. Often there's a group that'll come in on the off Saturdays, and sometimes one of us will be there too, or zooming in, or be there in person. And but just the student-to-student connection is extremely valuable, and there's an awful lot of learning that goes on there too. So don't underestimate the power of that. The networking is really an important part of the program.
Now, one of the measures of do you understand the material is, can you explain it to your fellow student? And because your fellow student may ask a question, you have an opportunity to guide that student and demonstrate, oh, I knew it. I knew that material. Isn't that neat? And vice versa. You will each help each other ratchet your way up the staircase. And each of you will stand on the shoulders to help reach the next level.
A lot of that goes on. And we encourage working in teams. So capstones are typically done teams of 2, 3, 4. We had one team called 5 Guys. So there's a hint. So.
We had one team years ago, which was one lady. She
Yeah.
was such a bright lady. She scared away all the other cohorts. And
And
she
she went
was
on
one of
to,
the ones we tried to recruit to stay in the PhD program. And I thought I had her. I thought I've got her. But Lincoln Labs at MIT made her a much better offer.
yeah.
Yeah. But we still are in
If-
contact with her.
Okay, she's doing fine at Lincoln Labs.
Yes, she is.
She's having a good time. She'd fit right in there. So that's
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Hi, Eric. Do you have any questions for us?
Hi,
Hey, Eric.
nice to meet you guys. Actually, I already applied,
Okay.
but I'm not sure I'm in or not. I got it or not. But
Okay.
anyways, my daughter is attending the cognitive science from this fall as a freshman. First one is a minor question, a small question. Is there any tuition benefit if I get it in the master course? I mean, for my daughter.
I don't think so, but we can.
Yeah, we can't speak. Yeah, we can't speak for the chancellor's office.
Okay, that is not important. But the second thing is, I already had a EE master from my country, and I'm very interested in system engineering. So, can I get enough knowledge about the system engineering from this course?
That's our third name.
Well, we
Yeah.
build systems. They're called wireless embedded systems.
Yeah, then it is the right course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we do a lot of embedded things where we have programmable cores, we have FPGA hardware around them, and then for the capstone project, you're applying it to something. So people put cameras and drones. Yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah, actually, my experience my career started from as an cell phone design engineer for the RF section, and I did kind of link budget calculation, but still I didn't use MATLAB or the system view for the budget calculation, and still my blind side is the ADC and the modem side. The modem side also has some loss, right? So I cannot make it full scope of the budget calculation. So can I get that kind of knowledge in the program?
The answer is yes. We will teach you how to build a modem. And it
Oh, okay.
starts at the physical layer. And the physical layer is the hardware, the software, the higher level levels of the multi-layered communication system. But once the data becomes ones and zeros, it's no longer of interest to us. We want to deal with radio communications while they're still wave shapes, because that's the harder part, dealing with the interface between the RF and the baseband modulation and the intermediate processing to convert a wave shape into eventually signals which will be interpreted as ones and zeros. Once they're ones and zeros, we pass it on to someone else.
Oh, okay. Could it include a 5G NR too?
Well, we will cover different modulation formats, and we'll cover things like QAM, OFDM. We might have some LTE. We may have some cell phone material. I'm not sure we're going to cover much 5G.
Actually, Papin does a little bit of that in his class.
Okay.
So yeah, so he is doing some 5G.
Okay, very good.
Okay, thank you. So, the other question is not important because I don't think I can get into the PhD course, but if there's slight chance I can apply to the PhD course, then is it easy? There'll be any benefit from this program to apply to PhD? Or the other question is there any online PhD too? Usually the PhD is in person, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any online at top
Yeah.
top
I think
50
the
or 100
schools,
universities.
right, the school's official policy is PhD is a full-time job.
Uh-huh.
But they don't want you part-time because you can't serve 2 masters. And the school wants you to be the master. And I think experience has demonstrated there's a reason for that. When you serve 2 masters, one that pays you and one that you're paying to go to school, the one that pays you gets first crack at your attention. And that means you're cheating your own self and your education. And we don't want you to do that.
But
Okay.
if you can get your employer to give you an internship in the same field you're doing your doctoral thesis in, it helped me and it helped my son. So
Well, I have a new student, a new PhD. No, he's a PhD student. And outside of this program, his company is paying all his fees. So I didn't have to cover his fees to be a PhD student. He came with money in his pockets. And the reason we did that is he was my master's student at San Diego State. And he came across because he knew I was available. So there is possible to get funding. In fact, Richard Bell got all his funding by his organization, which was a Navy lab.
yeah, GA put my son through the PhD. Thank you, GA. Yes.
That's right. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
The biggest advantage you'll get with this program is that you'll get to meet some of the professors. And if you're just applying for a random PhD, they'll look at your resume, but they won't get to meet you. So if you meet them, and again, if you impress them, then there's an opportunity there to potentially go into the PhD program, right? And also, as a student at UCSD, it's a lot easier to go to another professor that might be interesting to you in terms of doing research, and any of one of us can sort of vouch for you and say, hey, I'm a master's student in this program. Can I talk to you? They're going to be much more willing to do that than if you are just some random person emailing them. And then also you kind of get to understand again what it's like to be in school and whether or not that's something that you want to do again, because it's it's a PhD certainly is a full-time job, like Fred said. So it is extremely rare for someone to do a PhD and have a job at the same time. It has happened, but those people also tend to take quite some time to do their PhD. So
Okay, thank you very much.
Order 8 years or so usually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the reason why
8
I
years for
said,
my son.
yeah, the reason why I said is not important is I don't think I can have a full-time PhD course except for my current work. Should I make money to live? Thank you anyways. Yeah, that is good information though.
Yeah, I took 6 years after the bachelor's and my son took 8 after the bachelor's. So there's your answer on that one.
Well, my version of that, my father and I went to the same school and we were 2 years apart in our programs at Brooklyn Poly. So we actually had the same teachers. He said, oh, you're Sai's son, aren't you? Well, that's unusual.
What was your dad's major?
My dad started as a chemist, but he became a double E. And I was a double E from the beginning.
Funny.
Well, my mother went back to school and finished her bachelor's the same time I got my master's, because I had attended UCLA prenatally, and so my mother had dropped out of UCLA, and so she eventually went back and got her bachelor's the same year I got my master's. So
Very neat.
Thanks all. Hassan, did you have any questions for us?
Hey everyone, not particularly. I just wanted to join in. I'm looking to apply for fall 2021, and I just kind of wanted to introduce myself a little bit and kind of see, kind of talk to the professors a little bit. You know, I'm planning to apply in fall 2021. Like I said, I want to apply for the wireless embedded systems curriculum, and I'm mainly focused in sensor fusion. That's kind of the program that I'm looking towards. Based on your guys' experience, or based on the plan and the curriculum, do you know if this is the right place to go for learning about sensor fusion and trying to build a career in that?
I think you'll get the understandings of the signal processing aspects of that. We don't necessarily do directly anything in sensor fusion, but the concepts, the basic concepts, I think are all steeped in a lot of the courses that we teach you. And then I'm not sure if you were here earlier, but there is an opportunity at the end of the program to kind of focus a little bit more through your capstone on something that interests you. So I would imagine something related to sensor fusion could certainly be something that you could do your capstone in the last 2 quarters of your of the program.
Okay, right, that makes sense. Right, because again, a little bit more about myself. I'm currently working at Qualcomm here in San Diego. I'm a technician currently, but I'm hoping to go into an engineering role in the near future. And ever since I graduated from UC Irvine, I've been interested in trying to get into the automotive industry. And I know Qualcomm has a whole department dedicated to self-driving cars and all of the development that goes into there. So I'm trying to find a program that can help build my career expertise in that field. If that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of our instructors is also at Qualcomm currently in the AI research group. So he teaches in the summer software for embedded systems. So we've been focusing a little bit more on modern embedded platforms, GPUs, FPGAs, but also machine learning, because that's kind of what everybody kind of cares about right now. So we've been incorporating those into our classes. So so certainly, again, there are aspects of this program that would help you to achieve what you want to achieve. And at Qualcomm, there are we have a large number of alum through this program. So I'm guessing there would be people that would know, oh yeah, you went through this program, I can vouch for you. Let me try to find you a position in what you want to do. But that's the advantage of getting a master's, and getting a master's at a top 10 engineering school is that you have the pedigree now to say that you can get some of these jobs that you're looking for.
Definitely, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, because part of the issue that I've found so far is definitely, I mean, with a bachelor's degree, you kind of get broad understanding, the surface level understanding. But I found with a lot of interesting roles here at Qualcomm is they really want you to have very specific skill sets to handle specific tasks and work with specific technologies. And so I'm trying to find a program that can help me at least work my way towards that. Yeah, cool. Thank you guys, appreciate the help.
We have one group that's doing a special project, which is using EEG to tell someone whether or not someone is hearing certain sounds. So we play certain sounds, and the intent was the EEG will tell us whether the person recognized or did not recognize the sounds. Now, oddly enough, I gave a talk 3 days ago for a company up in Irvine called Massimo. And Massimo was interested in, can you do hearing aid development using the EEG? I said, it's perfect, because what we can do is we can give the person the hearing aid test, and we will know before the person knows whether or not they heard the sound through the EEG if it's done correctly.
Interesting. That's crazy. What kind of technologies are involved in that? EEG, I'm not actually familiar.
Well, the EEG is looking for brain activity by voltages across different parts of the skull. So you wear a little helmet with a whole bunch of little probes on it, and then you collect all this data and then bring it into a machine learning system, which converts the excitation, the sounds that you introduce, into decisions. Did the person did or not hear or understand what those clicks or pitches were, if that was the hearing aid test? That wasn't the intent of this particular group, but I know there's another group that I'm working with that does have that interest to make hearing aids easier for acousticians to apply to a patient.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, seeing the way that these technologies can be applied, I think that's part of the reason I'm so interested in embedded systems, is while I do have an interest in the automotive industry and trying to build, like go into that field, I can see just how universal it is and how you can use it in really so many fields and so many applications in medical devices and all these places. So I think it's definitely like a place I'm willing to put my efforts into long term, in terms of career, in terms of passion. So that's awesome. It's really cool.
Well, there's still an amazing amount of activity in automotive use. There's a group in Detroit that I used to give lectures to. They used to be TRW, but they changed their name. And what they do is do things like measure the person's weight in the passenger seat to see whether or not the person is occupying the seat, and to tell you to use the seatbelt or not. They do other things like collision avoidance. In the new cars where they're going to be autonomously driven, we don't know what the passengers are doing in the car while the car is driving. So the new cars will have cameras in them, and the cameras will identify where each person is in the car, which direction they're facing in the event there's a collision. What's the best way to protect that passenger, where they're sitting in relation to where the collision is about to occur. So there's an example where you're going to bring a whole lot of data together in real time. And you can't wait, oh, I'm going to tell you what it is in a 10th of a second. It's too late. I need it now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And Kristen just put a nice link in there of a few of the projects that we've done over the past in the program, or the students have done. Yeah, and there's also on Friday there's a project presentations this year for the 6 projects, the 6 capstones. Friday at 10 or 11, I can't remember, but we can also give you that information. We can also give you that information if you're interested in attending that. It's going to be on Zoom, so it won't be a whole lot of effort. And the students have made some, or will make some videos, basically summarizing their capstones.
Yeah, if I could get access to that, that would be awesome. I'd love to see what other people are thinking about and how they're putting the program.
Let me drop that link one more time.
Thank you, thank you.
Any other questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go and have some dinner. I don't have anything else to do.
Yes.
And we encourage you to apply. If you want us to look at your applications, we can definitely do that. We had an early application, I think, that has closed, but we can also if you let us know that you fully applied, then we can give you an idea of what, if we think you're going to be competitive, we'd be happy to do that.
Right.
And I would apply early, and we have a limited number of slots that we typically fill. There's so the earlier you apply, the better off, the higher the probability that you'll get in, just because if we fill too many, then we'll not accept you, or less likely to be accept you.
Yeah, I got it. I'm hoping to finish my application by this weekend. So
Great.
Okay.
Looking forward to you guys.
Great.
Looking
Looking
through
forward
it.
to seeing it. Yep.
And thank you for the link, Kristen. Sorry, go ahead.
Just to circle back to an earlier question about international transcripts for bachelor's degrees. Honestly, MAS could care less about an official transcript. So if you don't have that together by the time you apply, don't worry about it. It's really graduate division who are the keepers of your diploma who care about it. So if it takes you, a few months after you would apply to get that together, that's okay.
Well, thanks for answering that.
And feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions. We're happy to answer things. Going to head off. Good night,
Enjoy your
everyone.
dinner.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao. Time for ciao.
Good night, John. Good night, Fred.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, everyone.